3, a 2, a 1. Hey! Woo! Magic for good, baby. Welcome in. Much love. Trav here. I hope you're doing awesome. Just came back from my morning cycle ride and I passed someone on the trail I didn't know wearing a Magic for Good shirt and I yelled at them. So if that's you, who the fuck are you? I thought that was pretty cool. Some yogger out yogging. Anyways, today I'm going to walk you through another league with Living End. I've been binging a little bit. Not going to have time to do it today. Playing in paper, in person, F&M, maybe some Modern Masters draft this weekend. But this time we're going to have the actual gameplay because Magic Online did not crap out on me. I'm not going to give you a deck tech on Living End in this video. There's a bunch of other videos you can see for that. Talk a little bit about my updates, what I'm trying out here. I cut the white ley lines. I think they're good, but it's a lot of work for something that didn't get used. It hasn't been used in 10 matches. Would have gotten used in this league. I'm trying out main deck Blood Moon. I'm not sold on this. When it's great, when it's good, it's crazy good, and you feel like a genius. And you fucking raffle stomp people, it feels awesome. But a third of the time it's just a blank card. So I'm not sure on that. And then the rest haven't changed too much. I'm playing a bunch of Riders, Fulminator, Simians, Blood Moon. I think Beast Within. The way to play Living End right now is anti-creatures, anti-lands. There's only a few spell decks, and going anti-lands is not a bad way to try to cheese them, so I went 4-1 in this league, combined with the 5-0 yesterday. Gets me to 9-1 since returning to the deck. Always a good sign. If this was a Grand Prix, I'd be feeling pretty good. You have to go 13-2 to top 8 a Grand Prix, so I would have to 4-1 the next league, and I would be in there like swimwear. So I'll try to 4-1 or 5-0 the next league. So let's walk you through some matches. I really wanted to show you the matches last. I think they're a little bit more interesting in the 5-0, but I'll walk you through some interesting plays here, help you play better. Again, I hope your day is awesome. I hope you're doing fucking incredible, amazing. All your dreams and wishes come true. So here's basically a pretty typical hand. I'm up against Little Darwin is Paul Rietzel, who's just hot off a GP top 8 and an extremely good player as well. So here I've drawn both Blood Moons. Opponent has Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze to Living End is not actually really a problem because it's a creature. It does force you to play around it a little bit. So if I see Scooze, I won't cycle if I don't have to hit lands. So there's a Lingering Souls, don't care about. Didn't cycle the Abomination because we don't need to hit land. At this point, we do need a red, so I'll take some damage and throw down Blood Moon. That shuts off everything. It's fucked up good. It's fucked up how good this is. So, we can outburst that stuff away, which I like to do. Although, what was I thinking here? It was like, I'll wait until end of turn to do it. I have the Simian. Or no, let's get a bigger board presence before we do it. But I drew a Riders for the shutout, so why don't we just Riders away the swamp and that's it. So that's an example of Blood Moon being insane, but I don't think this game would have been that hard. Maybe it would have. Scavenging is kind of annoying. But we have the Fulminators and stuff. Yeah, why not? Blood Moon made that game easy one. Otherwise, it might have been hard. So here we're back for game 2. Always have to say hello, good luck, have fun. This is a hand I will keep every time. And this is why I play 6 land cyclers, is you always want to hit your land drops. It's easy to play too few lands. You've got a lot of cycles. So the opponent once again has turn 2 Scooze on the play. Just don't care. Long hair don't care. So here's the posturing, and I'll show you there's another match, but why cycle, right? I got a basic for Blood Moon, and then paid 2 life. Maybe I sequenced that wrong, but seems fine here. Skew's coming in. At this point, okay, I will cycle a Recluse because we do want to hit land drops. And I cut the ways to cast Recluse from the deck, so here. At this point I'm thinking like we'll take a hit. I don't mind using Outburst to get rid of that Scavenging Ooze. Note that Paul's very flooded, and basically I want to do this end of turn. I don't care that much about life. I just want to have a board advantage. So basically, 3 mana kill Scoos, and we're at a point where we can start casting creatures, or we can start cycling them, and we've got tons of creatures. We should be able to find a living end to win that way. And it's like, oops, not necessary. So this is an interesting play. I think a lot of people would just slam the Blood Moon, but I was concerned that Paul is holding an Abrupt Decay, and that'd be one of the reasons why he didn't cast that card. So I think it turned out to be the case, but jammed fucking Blood Moon at this point, quad red. You're not going to do a whole lot about that. Tibu casts Monstrous Carabid, Paul Rietzl concedes. Oopsies. So, Blood Moon, very good in that match. Now I'll show you guys a loss. This is the first and only loss in 10 rounds. And it's against what should be quite an easy matchup of Mill, but ran a bit bad and made not the best sideboarding choice. That's the advantage of being rogue. So we'll look again here, because I want to see what I did wrong. This is definitely 100% a mulligan. It has no lands. This one I believe is a keep. I don't really want to go to 5 hoping for better than this. We've got 3 Carabids, an A-Bomb, and a Blood Moon, which is a chance of doing something unfair. So there's a crab. Cycle, cycle. We hit our lands. Nice cycle, cycle. This is why I don't like Blood Moon right now, and would like, I'm not sure what instead, but maybe a Jungle Weaver or something, because it's irrelevant. This doesn't do anything. I'm annoyed right now because if we had a Violent Outburst or a Demonic Dread like normal, this game would be fucking over. We'd bring so much stuff back, but did not. Could have thrown down Fulminator on Watery Grave. Maybe it's a mistake that I didn't, but I feel like in order to win this game, we have to hit an Outburst or a Demonic Dread, and it has to happen right now. So, I would actually rather cycle Mind Funeral. And the opponent milled all of our living ends by the third turn, so it's like that was, I think I played it right. If there's anything wrong, it was having Blood Moon in the deck, because it was pretty bad there. So game 2, my big mistake was I left in some of the land destruction, and I didn't bring in Fairy Macabres. Fairy Macabres defend us from Surgical and Extirpate. So on the play, I brought in some Chewers. So maybe the mistake here was keeping as well. This is a very borderline hand. 4 lands is 1 more than we need. It has 1 Cycler, 1 Fulminator, 1 Ingot Chewer. It has no Dread or Outburst, but to me those aren't prerequisites to a keep. This is borderline. I think it's a keep. We have some interaction and some cycling. So, yeah. Also, punting. You notice I just skipped through my turn. At this point, I was on a phone call with Adam Yurchik in the mastermind, so that's definitely going to contribute to losing as well. So this is what it takes to lose, is you have to play bad and run horribly, and only then will you ever lose. I forgot that I skipped my first turn. I would have fulminated that Watery Grave by this point. Although Mesmeric Orb would have come down like normal. Crab. We would have had Riders, but I don't think the extra lands would have done too much. I drew a Carabid, cycling the Carabids, because again, we still need to hit Living End or we're going to lose and do nothing. Opponent Mind Funerals. And we finally start to flip over Outbursts. At this point, our deck is 11 cards left. 3 of those 11 cards are Living End. 1, 2, 3. This is crazy. Our deck right now, 11 cards. We have 5 Cascaders and 3 Living Ends, and then 3 other cards. Sometimes stuff's on the bottom. We got Surgical. So if I, we would have milled out anyways, but if I had a Fairy Macabre could have countered the surgical. Cycled, untapped, probably drawn into Cascader and finished the job. So, oh no, two living ends. So play bad and run bad and you lose. Or again, if we had drawn Outburst or Demonic Dread, would have been easy victory either of those games. Whatever. Okay. So I showed you screenshots of beating Storm. Is this Storm this time? No, it's Elves. Okay. This is a very, very good game as well. This game is a fucking epic. Strap on your seatbelts, motherfuckers. So again, I'll keep these one-landers with a couple cyclers. If it's only one cycler, I'm a little bit more sketched out on it, but this is fine. So the opponent plays nothing, which is super weird. So I'm thinking, alright, I'm going to cycle before fetching because I want a top deck. Drew a land. Okay, so what's the opponent holding? We had a little conference on our call here. It's got to be Court of Calling or Collected Company. It's got to be Court of Calling for 2 for Scavenging Ooze. So I could and maybe should have Outburst here, but I think it's better to just wait. And the opponent does nothing. Alright, we've got a waiting game. I'm definitely not going to fire out Outburst, because if it scoos, they could in response 3, 4, 5, exile our 3 creatures, and bring us to parity, except they have a bunch of stuff in their graveyard. Don't want that. So here's an interesting play where I maybe made a mistake. I didn't notice. I played the land here, but I could go to my end step and start discarding Fulminator Mages. I didn't do that, and I think it would have been decent. Opponent keeps holding up maximum mana for Scavenging Ooze. I'm going to play the waiting game better than you, because I can start discarding now. I'm going to start moving to my discard to Fulminator. Opponent says, alright, if you're going to discard, I guess I should scoos. And I say, if you're going to scoos, I guess I'm going to kill all your stuff and bring my stuff back. Now there's a scoos, and the scoos is going to grow his creatures. So this is an epic, insane game. Archdruid opponent has no cards in hand. I definitely like our position, except for the fact that we're losing on this board. We're going to have a hard time winning on this board either. So attack for a bunch. And my thinking is at this point, we're losing on board. We're not going to win on board against this big-ass scoos that we have to attack and do that scanning life. We can Demonic Dread for a living end, and then next turn suspend living end. Opponent has no cards in hand. We should be able to wait, survive, and wait for a living end to come off suspend. Suspending living end is a fine line. So, okay, let's go ahead and suspend living end. I thought about maybe we should land cycle, then play that land, and then Simeon. But it seems better to hold for potentially casting Twisted Abomination, or to cast 2 cards. Here, definitely want to fire off. We got a gaggle of high school kids walking by. What up? Fire off for 2 Fulminators so that we don't die. I decided to kill the Pendlehaven so that we'll be able to... Well, maybe killing the Pendlehaven was incorrect. Yeah, actually. Oh, no, I don't know. Whatever. I think I'm going to cost us 1 life. Alright, so living end very close to suspending. Another Fulminator. Very close to coming up. See, this is a fucking epic game. Block, and then gonna fire off, kill all your stuff, cycle Twisted A-Bomb, boom, wham bam boom. Living end comes off suspend, and we've got a big ass crew, although the opponent has Scavenging Ooze to grow off his own stuff. And a Nettle Sentinel, Heritage Druid. Alright, here's the turning point of the game, because it's going to be hard. Honestly, it's going to be very hard to get through that Scavenging Ooze, and we have no living ends left in the deck. So, 5 and a 4 and 1 versus... Yeah, so what happens is the opponent makes a poor block, not realizing that Violent Outburst +1/+0 is going to seriously fuck them up, force their scoos to trade, and leave them in this board position. This is not the board position you want to be in. Archdruid are fine top decks, but this is not the position you want to be in. So I'm top decking Twisted Abominations. I put that in my deck as a 4 of for this reason. It's really, really good right now. There's not a lot of bolts. There's not too many paths. And look, there's a third one even. Because of Collected Company, I'm waiting till next turn to fire off my Demonic Dreads for the win. Opponent's got Visionary down, some stuff, and Demonic Dread you cannot block. So this was a good game, right? This is the type of Magic I like to play with Living End. Boom, -13. All right, game 2. Hope you enjoy this. Should check it out. Yeah, I board in Shriek Maw. I board in Fairy Macabre to get rid of that Scavenging Ooze shit. Bam, cycle, cycle. Opponent has no 1-drops, not the best hand. It looks like they mulliganed at least once. Okay. Okay, there's a Kitchen Finks. I see it. Cycle, hit our land. I like to save the Street Wraith. And I like to sandbag as long as possible, because if you go off too early, they can actually recover sometimes. I like to cycle first so that we can actually find a land, because the deck's very land hungry. Outburst, sack the Burrington. I decide, let's Fairy Macabre the Burrington. Oh wait, I did this wrong. Yeah, Fairy Macabre. I did it wrong. I Fairy Macabre the Kitchen Finks. Maybe I should have got rid of the Burrington because of the protection, but it's irrelevant, whatever. Sometimes it's just fucking easy. Okay, last couple matches. We'll show you the Storm matchup. Storm is a really interesting matchup. I don't feel like I should be 2-0 against it, the new version, but I am. And it's because the new version is generally relies more on creatures, which makes it a whole lot weaker to Living End. Okay, I decided to throw down a Fulminator Mage here because since we had the Simian, we're not going to have time to cast this Fulminator anyways. We have 3 lands. I'd like to wait to try to cheese them, but I just don't see, and maybe it would have paid off to wait because we would have top decked to Avalanche Riders instead, but here we are. Okay, this is what I'm talking about waiting. So I could, in response to the Manamorphose, Fulminator the Spire Bluff, but I want the opponent to spend as many resources as they can and come up a mana short. So this whole time I'm like, alright, do your thing, go, 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 do your thing. Finally, with the Faithless Looting, to me, yeah, I don't know, maybe I should have gone earlier, maybe I should have gone later. But I said, you know what, let's get rid of your shit and come back with 9 power. And they have another Brawl, and they have only 1 card in hand, so I don't know why you have nothing left, but there you go. Opponent sleights of hand, pay for my riders, and attack for the kill. So oh wait, oh no, they can chump block, you're right. But it's hard for this deck to win without Brawl. Even with Active Ascension, that's it. That's what you get for relying on creatures. So how do I board? I like Macabres in. You don't need a million, but a couple are nice. Because if you fire it off at the right time, you can really fuck them up. I mulligan that first hand, actually. Let's take a look at that mulligan closer. Discipline mulligan after I punted round 2 today. Yeah, this hand, I didn't like this hand very much. It doesn't have any disruption. It doesn't have any cyclers other than Twisted Abomination. You could keep this, like Forest, Simian, Twisted Abom. This is just mediocre hand to me. I think you could keep that, but I thought, hey, we can do better. And to me, this one is a little bit better because it has a Beast Within. So, yeah, who knows. Beast Within ends up being quite nice. Cycle the Dead Shot. We got all these bombs. Opponent is meanwhile doing nothing. We're giving them time. End of turn, they ritual out a Gifts Ungiven. Get a Past in Flames, a Metamorphosis Ritual, and Desperate Ritual. So this is what I'm talking about. I'm going to put your Past in Flames in the graveyard, and I'm going to wait until you're within 1 mana of casting that Past in Flames before I Fairy Macabre you. So I'll give you the 2 rituals into your hand and let you do your thing. So Baral comes down, Ritual comes down, another Ritual comes down, and here's where things get interesting. I would love to Violent Outburst, but I'm actually concerned about the card Remand being one of the last 2 cards and then taking forever to win. It's not that unlikely for them to play Remand in this deck, so I thought, let's wait a turn on that and Beast Within that Spire Bluff. And then they're about to go to 3, 6 mana to Past in Flames, so that's when I fire off the Macabre and basically leave them. They pass the turn, they have nothing, and then on our turn we can Swamp Cycle and Simian out and Outburst. I'll have to kill our own Fairy Macabre, but here we are now. Here we are now. Twisted A-Bombs hit super hard, and that's it. So 2-0 versus Storm, and then show you guys the last match in the series. Could have stretched this out into 5 videos, but I did it in just 1, so if you're hyped on that, leave some hype comments. This is such narrow niche content. Like, a few of you are like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. 90% of my viewers are like, whatever, I stopped watching, I think. Alright, this is a good hand. Cycle. Yeah, okay, so we're up against the Experiment 1 deck. I actually have lost to this deck at a Grand Prix one time in the final round of to knock me out of the money once. I played Living in 3 GPs, 2 caches, including a top 8, a top 32, and a 1 miss. Okay, doing some cycling stuff. Would rather cycle 2 lands, 2 stuff than an Abomination. So I was greedy here. I could have fired off a Violent Outburst already, but I thought it doesn't seem... that was actually really greedy and bad, and it punishes me in game 2. I was like, let's Fulminator. Let's wait a turn to Fulminator. What could have gone wrong is they play a land and then play Burning Tree, Revolt Guy, Reckless Bushwhacker, or something like that, which is very conceivable that they would have had that and then would have died, and that's what happens in the next game. Especially because we could just play our Outburst later. So, game, I should have won this match in 2 games. I think the key is playing around the 8-whack bullshit. Although, actually, let's look at that mulligan again. Mulligan. Mulligan. 1244. Yeah, this hand's not very good. It just has no cycling, and it has no Outburst or Demonic Shred, so let's throw it back. This hand's a lot better. Street Wraith is painful, but it's fast. I'm not going to cut the card. Take the damage. I am going to cycle the Street Wraiths now because I want to find a 1-mana cycler, which we do. Alright, here's where I made my super greedy bad play. It's like, well, I think we can afford to take 5, and then we can have an extra creature next turn. I think that the opponent only has 4 cards in hand. If we Demonic Dread right now, we're going to win this game. But I made the same mistake as last game, which was to be too greedy, and we die as a result. So, I fucked up, but it's important that I lost this game to realize I made a mistake in the other game. Also, I made a real bad play here, where I attack with everything to force a chump block, and I end up dead to 2 haste creatures. So I played this game super, super poorly. I should have attacked with just the Carabid there, and maybe a Street Wraith. I think Carabid and Street Wraith. So play super, super bad, and that's what it takes to lose. Now we're playing for 9-1, 1 game. See if I can do this right. Not play like a total scrub loser. Alright, let's take a look at that mulligan once more. Check it out here. And well, it had no lands, is what I can see. This hand is fine, it's a keep. I decided to keep some riders in the deck. I cut the moons for Shriek Maws. And I'm not sure if I had the Fairy Macaws. I definitely should have if I didn't, as you will see this game. So I lead with the Grove. I don't care so much about giving them life. I'm more interested in seeing if I can fetch for basics, which we can here. And the opponent makes a nice play, Gorkline Rampager to the face, so they don't add to the board, and if we living end, they're getting a 4/4 back. Go ahead and Swamp Cycle. And Cycle... I made another possible mistake there where I cycled before looking at my played a land and then cycled. If I had cycled first, I might have played a tapped land and gone for the greedy Avalanche Riders play. But this game I learned, I'm like, I don't need to milk too much. I need to try to not die. We've got 2 more living ends. We can win this on land death. So let's go ahead and just play a living end and sit back and try to win the longer game. Which the opponent gets definitely a bit unlucky here. I want to pin him off red. Possible. Boros Charm us to 4. Hold back as many blocks as possible at this point. Land cycle for a basic. Fulminator. I think sacking the Fulminator there was definitely wrong. Should have held it back as a potential blocker for that turn. Cycle. Which is enough for me to go, alright, let's Demonic Dread again. And we're way ahead. Opponent says, alright. And they concede. I was going to double Demonic Dread, 4, 8, 12, 14. But what ended up not being necessary. This is all a tricky match and I played it bad, but played it well enough. So I hope you found that useful. I might do some more of these, but probably not too many. I'm going to try to go back to single match plays. And I don't know how much time I'm going to have to binge on these leagues before San Antonio anyways. So hope you found that useful. If this is your favorite sort of content, please leave a comment. If this is whatever to you, but you made it to the end somehow anyways, I'd love to hear a comment on that as well. So thank you so much, and we will speak soon. See you in the comments again. Once again, thank you. Take care. Adios, muchachos. Much love.